So, once again, you found yourself at the campsite of the Orator. As you can see, I have stoked the fire, so please pull up a chair and settle in, because tonight I have another tale to tell. Mothers. They are some of the most important people in our lives. They comfort us, they nurture us, they protect us. And because of their love, we feel safe around them. We let them in. We let our guards down around them. But what do you do when your mother isn't actually your mother? What do you do when your mom has been replaced by something other, something supernatural, something dangerous? Before we begin tonight, if you find yourself enjoying this kind of content, first-hand true accounts of the supernatural, paranormal, things that go bump in the night, then allow the spirits to guide your planchette to both the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload new videos, which is twice a week, every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Second, all of my stories are true first-hand accounts of the supernatural and paranormal. Tonight we have a double feature. Our first story comes from us from Redditor NecessaryOrange334, and I will make sure to link their story below. But if you or anybody you know has a story that you think would fit well on my channel, then please reach out to me on any of my social media, and we'll find a time to get together, collect your story, and potentially one day feature it here on the Orator. And now, with all of that out of the way, let's get on to today's first story in our double feature. It is a tale that I call Formula. So it's the mid-2000s. Sarah is 7 years old, and she has a 4-year-old brother and a mom and a dad, and they all live together. The problem is, the dad is emotionally neglectful. He's not really there ever. When he is there, he doesn't seem to pay any attention to the kids or put any real effort into it, and so he's not really a factor anymore. Same thing with the mom. She is kind of a narcissist. She really puts all of the responsibility and blame on Sarah, who's only 7, and she just doesn't really do a great job of taking care of her kids. And Sarah has another problem on top of her parents being an issue, and that's her 4-year-old brother. He's really malnourished, and he's got a lot of medical issues. And so even though he's 4 years old, he is still eating a diet of, on top of regular food, kind of like this formula mixture with milk that's supposed to help him to grow and kind of grow up into his size and get healthy again for a 4-year-old boy. So he's very small and tiny and malnourished. And so Sarah oftentimes has to prepare these bottles. Now, the good thing about her mom is she's already made them. The formula's in the milk, and they're sitting in the fridge. So really all Sarah has to do is get it out, mix it up, and microwave it so it's warm for her brother. Now, the current situation is that it's summer break, and their grandmother, Sarah and her brother, their grandma, so Sarah's mom's mom, she's just gotten out of the hospital after major surgery, and so Sarah's mom is over there pretty frequently helping her out and making sure that she's getting back on her feet and really taking care of her. And Sarah's dad, he's off at work and he doesn't really care anyway, and so Sarah is oftentimes at 7 years old left to stay at home and take care of her 4-year-old brother. And right now it's summer vacation, and she's doing exactly that. Her mom is gone taking care of grandma, dad's at work, and Sarah is here with her brother. The problem is, it's the middle of the day, and Sarah was really tired, and she fell asleep. And so she gets woken up by her brother, and she's coming out of this sleep, and she's realizing even though it was a nap, it was a really long nap, and it was a really deep sleep, and she's having a really hard time coming out of this sleep. She's really groggy and tired. Her brother's insistent, and she comes to, and she realizes it's definitely time for him to eat. And this is a pretty major responsibility, right? Sarah is really taking it upon herself to be serious about making sure her brother is okay. And so she rubs the sleep out of her eyes. Her brother sits down. He starts watching TV, and she gets up and makes her way into the kitchen. And her job is just simple. Go into the fridge, grab the formula, microwave it, and bring it out to her brother. And so she enters the kitchen to do that, and her mom is in the kitchen. Now, her mom, she's facing away from her, and she's at the sink, and a couple things right away frighten Sarah. One, her mom's home, and she's not supposed to be home. And remember, her mom is angry and blames Sarah for everything. And so Sarah, she's overslept a little bit. Her brother's supposed to be eating, and now here's her mom in the kitchen, and it looks like she's preparing this formula. And so right away, Sarah's freaked out that she's going to be in trouble. So she starts apologizing as soon as she enters the kitchen. I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't know you were going to be home, and you're home early, and is everything okay? And as she's talking to her mom, some things are a little bit weird about the whole scenario, and they're just now starting to hit her. One, as she's talking to her mom's not acknowledging her. She doesn't turn around. She doesn't address that she's walked out of the room. Nothing. The second thing that's a little bit weird is that the formula is already supposed to be prepared and in the fridge, but her mom is making a new bottle, which just doesn't make any sense. The third thing, and probably the biggest thing that's weird to Sarah, is how she's making this bottle of formula. Normally, if you've ever seen a bottle of formula get made, you take a bottle of milk and you put I don't remember, a scoop or 2 scoops, something like that of this formula in there, you mix it up, and that's it. Sarah's mom, she's taking all of the formula in one of these cans, and she's just relentlessly dumping it into this bottle of milk. And she's not just doing it casually, she's doing it really ferociously at this breakneck speed, and she's doing it in a way her movements, it's not just that she's angry, she's also frantic, like she doesn't want to get caught, or she's doing something she's not supposed to. There's just something about the situation for Sarah that's just off and really weird. And then it goes from really weird to way worse and terrifying, because her mom turns around and is facing her, and she has this nightmarish, terrifying, angry stare on her face, and there's something off about her face. And Sarah, she recounts it. She's like, I don't remember exactly what it was. I don't know if it was something with her mouth or her ears or her nose, or something was too small or too wide, or I think maybe her eyes were even off kilter, but she looked at her face and she's like, it looks kind of like my mom, but it's not my mom. And as she's staring at this creature that's imitating her mom, this creature has the spoon in the formula in the milk, and she's stirring it, and she's doing it so vigorously, milk is going everywhere. It's spilling onto the floor, it's splashing on the counter, on her mom's dress, and it's like her mom doesn't even notice. She doesn't pay attention. She's not talking. She's just staring straight into Sarah's eyes with this murderous gaze. And Sarah, she's terrified, and she's trying to split her out, Mom, I'll help you. I don't know. And as she's staring at her mom, the mom's face starts to distort. Then the eyes start to move, and the mouth starts to move. And as she's looking at her, the face is moving. And Sarah, she starts freaking out. She screams, she turns, she runs, she grabs her brother, she runs them both outside. And this whole time she's doing it, the mom's just sitting in there in the kitchen, vigorously stirring this formula. It's gotten all over the counter and the floor, and it's gotten the whole kitchen filthy. And Sarah and her brother, they run outside, they run across the yard. They have this big yard, and on the other side of it is a second house on their property that they rent out. And so they run up that door, they pound on it. The lady who lives there, she comes out, and they're like, can we please stay with you just until our mom gets home? And she says, of course. And so she lets them in, and right away Sarah uses their landline to call Grandma's house. And who picks up? But Sarah's mom. And she's like, what's up? What's going on? Sarah's like, were you just home? When are you going to be home? And Sarah's mom, she's like, no, I'm not home, and I'm not going to be home for a while. I told you it's going to be a few hours because I'm taking care of your grandma. And so that's that. 2 hours later, their mom finally comes home, and Sarah and her brother, they leave the neighbor's house, and they meet her at the threshold of the door, and they walk in, and there's a part of Sarah that's hoping that when they walk in, everything's going to be totally fine. But when they enter that kitchen, it is destroyed. There's milk and formula everywhere. The formula is out. All the powder is spilled all over. I mean, it looks like a tornado went off in this kitchen. And of course, Sarah, she can't quite explain to her mom what's happened. And so she's just sort of left to, once again, take the blame and the punishment for what's happened. And Sarah said, for many years, they continued to live in that house, and she never had anything else like that ever happen again. And she said now she's 27 years old. She doesn't even really believe in the supernatural and paranormal, but she looks back on this one day, and she cannot explain what this thing was that imitated her mother. And that's going to do it for our first story in today's double feature. Our second tale today comes from a Redditor. Thank you for the venom. Once again, I will make sure to link their original story below. And now let's get on to today's second tale. It is a story that I call Back Scratch. Since 2010, Tina is 8 years old, and she lives with her mom and dad And she has several brothers and sisters, a pretty big family. And the dad, he works out of town during the week, and he works far enough away to where he has to get a hotel room while he's gone. And so for the 5 days that he's gone throughout the week, they don't get to see their dad. They only see him on the weekends when he comes home Friday night. And because of this, and the general loneliness of the house while he's gone, they've started to develop sort of a routine where every single night of the week, a different kid gets to sleep in bed with their mom. They don't all do it at once. They take turns. So on one night it'll be Tina, the next night it'll be her sister, then one of her brothers, and so on and so forth, until every kid has gotten a chance to stay with their mom. And it just kind of gives them time to, number one, break away from a routine, give their mom some company, and they get some special one-on-one time with their mom in a pretty big family where that comes pretty rarely. The problem with this is that their parents' bedroom is the source of a lot of negative supernatural or paranormal activity. I mean, if there was ever a haunted room, this is it. Things move all on their own. They said when you're not in the room, you can hear furniture moving around in there sometimes. When you're in the room, you'll hear knocking or even scratching at the door. They have, it's the master bedroom. They have attached to it a walk-in closet and a master bathroom. And the lights in both of them will flicker while they're on and even while they're off. And so everybody in the whole house knows that this room is a center for paranormal activity, but it's never been anything too egregious. It's only these little weird things that are overt, but they're not dangerous per se. And so it is just a normal night. Tina, her dad, is gone at work, and so it is her night to stay with her mom, and that's where she's at right now. Everybody else is in bed. She's in bed with her mom. The light is still on, and they're just sort of talking, having one-on-one time, and it's one of Tina's favorite things because, like I said, she's just got so many siblings, and one-on-one time with her parents is so rare, and so she's really enjoying it. But it is getting to be bedtime, and so her mom says, hey, I'm going to go have a cigarette real quick, and then when I come back in, it's kind of time to lock everything down and go to sleep. Tina says, yeah, all right. And so her mom gets up, she leaves, and right before she walks out the door, she turns and asks, do you want the light on or off? And of course, this is a scary haunted room, and Tina's 8 years old, so she says she wants the light on. And her mom obliges, and she goes outside, and she starts smoking her cigarette. And while she's outside, really, Tina's main objective is just to not panic. She's in this room. She's scared of it. She's very nervous that her mom's not there. But she knows, this happens all the time. Her mom has a cigarette before bed. She's gone through this routine a million times. Her mom's going to be right back. Her brothers and sisters are around. And so she's just trying to walk through a calming exercise to make sure she's okay. And then her mom comes in. She turns the light off and shuts the door and slides in bed next to Tina. And Tina says, welcome back. And her mom, she starts rubbing her back. And Tina, she starts to relax. And she's slowly falling asleep. And then her mom switches to rubbing her back to scratching her back. And at first this is, comforting. And Tina likes it. And she's starting to fall asleep even more. But then this scratching, it goes from kind of like a light, comforting scratch to these kind of deeper scratches. And it's really starting to hurt a little bit. And it seems kind of aggressive. And so Tina, she just says, Mom, that's a little too hard. Can you stop? And her mom, instead of stopping, it's like she actually starts to go harder and deeper. And these scratches in her back, it's actually feel like it's starting to leave marks and actually leaves scratches in her back, these deep scratches. And finally, Tina's like, Mom, I said stop, that hurts. And her mom stops, and she goes right back to rubbing her back, but she doesn't say anything. And it's just the whole thing's a little bit weird to Tina, but her mom's now rubbing her back, and she's finally starting to fall asleep again, when all of a sudden, the bedroom door opens from the outside, and her mom walks in. And Tina, she kind of looks up at her mom, and she was half asleep, and so she's kind of groggy, and she rubs the sleep out of her eyes, and their mom turns the light back on. She says, Tina, I thought you said you wanted the light on, not off. And Tina, she's confused. She's like, yeah, I know, but then you turned it off when you came back in. And Tina's mom's like, baby, I just came back in right now. I was smoking. Tina's like, okay. And so the mom turns the light off, and as she's getting back in bed, it's like Tina's waking up enough to realize her mom was in bed already. And so she rolls over, and she's looking, and there's nobody there. The bed is empty, and her mom is just now getting in it. And so she just asked her again, you didn't come back in for anything at any point? And her mom's like, no, sweetie, I left, I smoked, and I came back in. And so Tina, she's kind of freaked out about this, and she's trying to, was I sleeping? Did I dream this? What the heck? And so she just asked her mom, hey, Mom, can you do me a favor, and can you grab your phone and kind of just shine the flashlight on my back and see if there's any scratch marks on my back. And so her mom does. She obliges. She picks up her phone and she shines it. And her daughter's back is covered in these kind of like deep pink reddish scratches. And so she's like, sweetie, you got to be more careful. I mean, it's good that you're flexible enough to scratch your own back like this, but this is way too hard. You got to relax. And Tina, it's like, now there's confirmation. What was this thing in bed imitating her mom? Because it was clearly there. She clearly felt it. And now there's even physical evidence. And there's just no explanation for it. And so she's too scared to tell her mom exactly what happened. She's too freaked out about everything. And so she just kind of relaxes and eventually goes back to bed now that her mom's there. And she said, they stayed at that house for years. And tons of other weird stuff happened. But she said nothing was as terrifying as the night that she felt like she was getting a back scratch from a thing that imitated her mother. And so that's going to do it for today's stories. If you found yourself enjoying these stories or any of the other ones on my channel, then please allow the spirits to guide your planchette to both the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload new content, which is twice a week, every Monday and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And second, of course, all of my stories are true first-hand accounts of the supernatural and paranormal. I will link today's stories below in the comments, but if you or someone you know has a story and you think it would fit well on my channel, then reach out to me on any of my social media. We'll collect your story and potentially one day feature it here on the Orator. And so until next time, where my fire will be stoked, you may pull up your chair and settle in, and I will have another tale to tell.